Connecting Analytics to Future Organizations. Our next speaker is Mr. Tanmoy Mukhopadhyay, Expert Operations Analytics of ANZ. Mr. Mukherjee is a quality professional with 14 years of experience across different industries, manufacturing, BPO, and banking. He is an electrical engineer by qualification and a certified master black belt. Since last 6 years, he has been leading operational excellence function of retail and business banking division of ANZ Bank, New Zealand. He's very keen about the applied psychological aspects of people in organization and its integration with process excellence. Mr. Mukherjee, please. May I request Mr. Gautam Banerjee to present a memento to Mr. Mukherjee? Yes. Excuse me, guests, I would request you to please come up. Some seats are vacant in the front, and that will make the speaker more comfortable to interact with you. Please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I would first like to thanks to NASCOM and Data Science Foundation for giving me the opportunity to speak here. So if we look at last couple of years, analytics has claimed its position quite well in all kinds of organizational, all kinds of industry. May it be medical science, may it be banking, may it be IT-enabled industries, many other places. So if we look back and reflect from one step back, what is the genesis of analytics? What do we see? My main topic will be around that today. We will reflect upon a model of our reality. There can be many models. One of them I will present. What is data and data science from a layman point of view? I will try to keep it really simple. Analytics as fundamental of data science, how they are connected. As I understand, it might not be an objective view of. It might not be an objective view, but I would try to interpret that. Then making organization future ready. I would like to emphasize on that. What is the cultural aspect of making analytics as connecting to the future organization? So how it is a model of our reality. There are three elements: customer, organization, and technology. Customer is one who purchases the products and services. Organization is the supplier of those services. And technological invention that brings the dynamic element into that. So these three connected elements together works like a social production machine. They convert the resources into some concise value, some concrete value. Interestingly, they cannot interact directly with each other. Let's say a technological invention has come. It will not be useful for the customer unless until there is some innovation, which is like a concrete need of customer getting answered by that new technology. So technological invention gets connected to the innovation. On the other hand, innovation needs to be connected to the organization who is providing that value to the customer, and that happens through a cultural preparedness. Without that, it cannot happen. And finally, customer and organization meets in a dynamic balance of value add. That is how the reality looks like for us. And each of these links are the potential for applying analytics. Each of these links and how it can help us, because analytics is like adding intelligence to the state of affair. So we can understand what has been the situation or has been the facts till now and add value for the future through a predictive model. So there comes the analytics into picture. As everybody can expect, the basic of analytics is data. And what is data? To be very simplistic about that, it has two components, dimensions and records. Let's say I have the data of 10 different metal pieces. They have the length, width, depth, mass, and Rockwell hardness number. So these 5 things are the 5 dimensions of the data. And there are 1 to 10 records, which are 10 records. At each of the record we can talk about as a one metal piece. The different material, of course. So 10 different pieces, 10 different records with 5 dimensions. Any dimension record like these things, we can think it as a data. Data is a codified fact. How to represent a fact? There might be multiple dimensions. Well, if we have asked the question, how many dimensions can be possible, we will land up to a metaphysical domain. So we limit our view to the point wherever we interested are, wherever to the extent we are interested about it. What is data science? If we look back in history, we can see an interesting pattern. Before Industrial Revolution, the data was the data of the great war, the reign of a king. Those things used to be considered as data in history. During Industrial Revolution, wages of people, production, wastage, process parameter, process capability, those came as the data. Next, our knowledge economic age, which is our present day, it is like demographics of people, social demographics of people, a group of people, what they like, dislike, etc. So data has a changing facets over a period of history. And data science, why do we require to understand the science behind the data now? Because the size of the data has become multifold. Earlier we were able to manage without understanding the explicit science behind that, not anymore. We have to know what are the principles behind data science, and some of my previous speakers has mentioned that there is a knowledge from data and there is a principles from data. So data science is about the principles from the data. And analytics, we can understand analytics as the fundamental principles of data science. Those principles were there earlier also, and it has evolved over a period of time. It has some archaic connection. So we start expecting some kind of meaning from the data, like summarize many with one. We all know during our school days we use the average. So that average, one number represents the whole group of number. Now we do cluster analysis, something very different, yet objective is same, understanding the whole group by a simple representation. Similarly, there are few others, like quest for what is significant, the confidence level. Our entire concept of probability is about that. Are they related? When we see multiple dimensions of data, we suddenly look for are two data sets simultaneously increasing or decreasing, so correlation. And what gets repeated again and again, chronological plots. So those principles were there also and now also, it will be there in future. They are changing their shape. I will take it quickly through an example. But let us recognize the fact. Analytics is characterized not by the size or complexity of the data, but the meaning it brings to the table. That is more important. This is an example how fast processing computer has changed our vision. So earlier, it's a very simple notion of distance, the distance between 2 points in space, Cartesian distance we are using. Now we calculate a lot of things like Mahalanobis distance. By the way, Mahalanobis distance is not a new concept. 1936, Prashanta Chandra Mahalanobis has came up with this concept. And then, till now we are unable to use that because it requires a lot of matrix multiplication, matrix inversion. We know how difficult it is to do in paper and pen, even with the calculator. But now, with the data, with the high-end computational capabilities, we can do all these things. And we can multiple times, we can repeat this same algorithm to get the meaning out of it. See the change. Same notion of distance, but more generic in nature. That is what our analytics is going towards. One subtle but fundamental change in the outlook, what we can see. Our old outlook was about the dimension, looking the data as a dimension by dimension approach. We were plotting one dimension at a time, and we used to see what point there is a pattern in the chronological way, some control chart or run chart. Now, we can plot how much does the fifth record deviate from the first. We can see that one record from another record and calculate its Mahalanobis distance. So as a whole, we can compare the whole dimensions of the data. That is a fundamental change. Not by dimension approach, but by one record compared to another record. Making organization future ready. That is the main point I want to emphasize. And as we try to do that, we find several challenges what the traditional organization keeps facing. What is obsessive reductionism? The first point. It is a state of mind which says anything and everything you can break into small pieces and then reveal to the perfection. What is ignored? Practical aspect of it. And that leads to the what is popularly known as paralysis of analysis. That is a challenge. Failing to maintain the balance between the approximation and reliability. Like an information is required at certain point of time with a certain degree of accuracy. If we do not recognize this balance, going either to approximation, we can do high degree of approximation and then end up with no value of that, or we can go for extreme level of reliability and do it after 5 years of requirement. Both way we fail, a challenge. Ignoring the outliers. Outliers, it is an interesting fact, and many a times we take out the outliers and only concentrate on the good-looking data. That is so mesmerizing for our eyes. At the same time, we miss the opportunity of knowing why that outliers are caused. So, that is the third challenge. Misjudging the culture as a tool. Okay, that is very interesting, at the same time, most important aspect. It is about when the number coerces people. We put the numbers and we ask people to deliver on that. They have to justify their performance on that. If that kind of situation is there, who will be interested in the numbers? And that's why the analytics ended up in being most hated things in the organization. So first thing we have to break is that pattern. Number is not coercing people, it is to get the information out of the system. And let me look at all these points from a positive aspect now. What can we do in order to change those? Nurture the knowledge discovery. Avoid ready-made plugins. The first point is that if we think analytics is a plugin that you put in some direction on your organization and it will start producing the value, absolutely wrong. It has to be nurtured from the bottom level and then we can get through there. Training and practical connection. How do we train people? If we call everybody into one room and tell, okay, these are the tools of analytics, learn it from today, these are the exercise, work on it and submit your papers and then you learn everything. No, absolutely wrong way of doing it. Instead of that, we have to mentor people. Select 5 people who are naturally interested into that. Train them, mentor them, ask them to train another 5 people. That's the way you can grow your organization, pro analytics. And some of my previous speakers said, analytics tomorrow will be an empowerment. It is not a separate subject. So today IT has become an empowerment. Tomorrow every discipline will have analytics in their respective discipline. Tone down the hierarchical interaction in decision. It blocks the objective conclusion. We know that hierarchy is the biggest enemy of free knowledge. And at times, very interestingly, established knowledge plays the role of hierarchy. How can we forget Galileo, who suffered because of established knowledge playing the role of hierarchy? Create an aura of excellence. Avoid hidden organization. We can appreciate excellence when we look at what does lack of excellence mean. Lack of excellence means people will justify their role. Whatever they have given, they will deliver excellent performance on that, but they will not take any chance, any risk beyond some certain point. As a result, organization will still have big loopholes, and they will find more roles there, more people to fill those roles, and finally, there will be a hidden organization. An organization adding no value beyond what is written. So, how do we prevent that? In our past, we have seen hidden factories doing the all rework and repair works. Hidden organization justifies their existence. Excellence aura means going for more, whatever, just not whatever is told. That is the excellence behavior. Solving problem is the gesture of authenticity. And many organizations generally overestimate the value from a new theoretical concept and underestimate the need for making it culturally acceptable among the people. analytics in organizational relationship. We have seen text analytics, we have seen social media analytics, many areas. How does analytics fit into the developing the organization? We have something there as well. Do we know that people are generally different? How much do we use the power of diversity in our organization? According to a concept, Myers-Briggs type indicator, there are 16 types of people. All of them have their different motivation, different strengths and weaknesses. If we can build some team with this complementary skill set, everybody has a different role to play. The team will deliver par excellence. Another, there is a social media effect of inside out change. Our previous organization has within the organization, it was limited, the discussion topics were limited inside this. Sorry. So, future is looking like this. Network intelligence, it is not, social media is not just storing the data, it is generating the productivity from the data. Professor Mitra has said, give us the challenge problem, example of using the network intelligence. And I would like to conclude with this last slide, the contrast of it, our past, hierarchy dominates, our future, aggressive transparency. Just transparency is not good enough. It is about showing our vulnerability and asking for help. That is going to drive the knowledge. And there is a self-built up process here, leadership without one fixed leader. Like analytics first applied to organization cultural building, that knowledge displaces hierarchy, and then comes the excellence behavior as a result of it. Finally, we get the empowered people applying analytics in their newer domain, and then the whole cycle gets repeated. So first time this has to be broken by the leadership who are top of the hierarchy. Otherwise, it cannot be started. So that, having said that, I brings my session to completion. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
We will do that. We will try to share as many presentations as possible, but with the permission of the speaker.
And Arunda will make sure that we do a session there in your company. We'll do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.